Motion 1. It is hard to apply to Ivy League schools. It is resolved that it is hard to apply to Ivy League schools. How hard is it for Americans to get into Ivy League schools? How to apply to the Ivy Leagues. What is college application process? How to complete a college application. When to apply to college. How to use the Common App to apply to college. How can college applicants stand out? What is the easiest Ivy League school to get into? Which Ivy League school should I apply to? How much does it cost to apply to an Ivy League school? What ped do you need to get into Harvard? The 8 Ivy League schools: Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, the University of Pennsylvania, Princeton and Yale had a total of 281,060 applicants for the class of 2021. Of those applicants, less than 10% got admissions offers. Harvard had the lowest acceptance rate out of all the Ivies, at just 5%. Clearly, getting into any Ivy League school is an impressive achievement. So, how do people do it? You should pause the video clip for 5 minutes, work on your own or in the group. Debate format. The team debates are the core of the World Scholars Cup. In the debate, you'll have 15 minutes to research your arguments, with full access to the internet. In the debate, each speaker will have up to 4 minutes to speak. Also, you should know that the debates are on the format of showcase debate, meaning no interjections are allowed. The structure of the debate: first speaker, first affirmative speaker. Second speaker, first negative speaker. Third speaker, second affirmative speaker. Fourth speaker, second negative speaker. Fifth speaker, third affirmative speaker. Sixth speaker, third negative speaker. The last speaker from each team is not allowed to add new arguments. Debate preparation. WSC debate. Each team debates 3 times, on motions across all the subjects, from policy to poetry. You may be arguing whether parents should have access to surveillance cameras at schools, or whether women make better superheroes. Debate is your chance to apply all that you've learned to make the most persuasive case you can. And, win or not, after each debate, you'll give the other team feedback on how to improve. Each of you will speak up to 4 minutes. But first, you'll have 15 minutes to research your argument, with full access to the internet. Use your time, and choose your sources, wisely. WSC website. The debate event seems to be the one that causes the most anxiety amongst students. However, by using the debate templates to practice with, students can gain confidence. Debaters in WSC are given a debate prompt and then have 15 minutes to prepare. By using the templates below, debaters can fill in the content of their debate into the structure provided. The first time they debate, you can allow them to read off their template, and the more times they practice, the less they will need the template. Debating activity instruction. Listen to the information related to the motion. Work in pairs to discuss about the topic of the motion. Discuss with your teacher about the topic of the motion. Write down an essay to discuss about the topic of the motion. Debate in the front of the class. Answer the questions of your classmates and your teacher. You should use hamburger template to structure your persuasive essay. Outline explanation, structure of a 5-paragraph persuasive essay. Introduction, 3 to 5 sentences. Hook, grab the reader's attention with a quote, scenario, question, vivid description, etc. must be related to your topic. 1 to 2 sentences. Thesis statement, simply and clearly state your position on the issue, 1 sentence. 3 arguments. Choose 3 arguments you can use to convince your reader of your position. Briefly state these arguments here. 1 to 3 sentences. Paragraph 2, 5 to 8 sentences. Go back to paragraph 1 and find your first argument. Then write a paragraph about it. Use specific examples to support your argument. Write a transition sentence. Paragraph 3, 5 to 8 sentences. Go back to paragraph 1 and find your second argument. Write a paragraph about it. Use specific examples to support your argument. You should use authoritative websites to give facts, statistics, supporting quotations, studies, research, etc. Write a transition sentence. Paragraph 4, 5 to 8 sentences. Go back to paragraph 1 and find your third argument. Write a paragraph about it. Use specific examples to support your argument. Write a transition sentence. Conclusion, 3 to 5 sentences. Summarize, restate your thesis statement and 3 arguments in different words. Make a closing statement. Tie your closing statement back to your opening hook. The hamburger template applies to the paragraph too. First sentence of the paragraph is the topic sentence, then 2 or 3 argument sentences. The final sentence concludes the paragraph and introduces to the next paragraph topic, if any.
Model answer 1. The Varsity Blues admissions scandal shows just how far some wealthy parents will go to get their children into elite colleges. In one case at Yale, parents paid $1.2 million to make their daughter look like a star soccer player in a fake athletic profile. Why are Ivy League applicants, even the overwhelming majority who apply, legitimately so desperate to get in? And why is this set of schools so renowned? With pricey college admissions consultants from companies like Ivy Coach charging up to $1.5 million for 5-year packages to steer children toward Ivy League schools, it is natural to think these are the nation's most selective colleges. And it is true that it is very hard to get in. In 2017, more than 280,000 students applied to the 8 Ivies, and less than 10% were admitted. A recent study by researchers at the Equality of Opportunity Project based on anonymous tuition records and tax filings reveals that Princeton, Yale, Dartmouth, Penn and Brown have more students from the top 1% of the income distribution than from the bottom 60%. Moreover, of the 10 highly selective colleges that enroll the highest shares of low and middle income students, none are in the Ivy League. Because of the impressive SAT scores and high grades of students admitted to Ivy League institutions, many people incorrectly infer that superhuman academic performance is the key ingredient for admission. Grades are still the most important factor in admissions. Course rigor is also extremely important. The proportion of Asian Americans in the student body would double if admissions were based on grades and test scores alone. In 2018, just 4.3% of Stanford's applicants were admitted, compared with 4.6% at Harvard. And neither is quite as selective as another institution, the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia, where the admissions rate is just 3%. Just 4 of the 10 most selective colleges in the country are Ivies: Harvard, Yale, Princeton and Columbia, with MIT, Caltech, Stanford and Juilliard more selective than the other 4 members of the league. The only person who belongs at Harvard is the valedictorian, the obvious intellectual, the white-faced grind, and imposed an effective quota of 10% on top brains. Model answer 2. Harvard and its sister Ivies do not see educating the next generation of rocket scientists, professors and assorted intellectuals as their primary task. Instead, they select students whose qualities seem most likely to make them future members of what a sociologist C. Wright Mills called the power elite, the ruling class, and what Ivy League presidents refer to simply as leaders. In reality, academic strength is just one of several dimensions by which candidates are ranked, including extracurriculars, athletics, and the enigmatic personal ranking. Harvard's internal statistical analysis, revealed that the personal ranking carried the most weight and the academic ranking the least. Savvy parents and applicants are well aware that the Ivy League values athletic talent, but it is often listed as just one hook among many others, including legacy status, membership in a historically underrepresented minority group, and socioeconomic disadvantage. The prospects for applicants without special positioning as a star athlete, concert pianist, or first generation to go to college. A former dean of admissions at Princeton said that we do not emphasize one activity over the other. Athletes as well as artistic endeavors, musicians, dancers, or actors are equally valued in receiving recognition. Over the past half-century, Ivy institutions have adopted a policy of ignoring financial considerations in admissions decisions. Applicants' inability to pay tuition won't stop a school from admitting them. More recently, a number of Ivies have offered full scholarships covering room, board, and tuition for students coming from families with incomes below $65,000, along with commitments to give special consideration to socioeconomically disadvantaged students, regardless of race. One would expect that the net effect of these policies would be to increase the proportion of poor and working-class students at Ivy League colleges. The University of Pennsylvania claims that the school's financial aid program and unflagging commitment to access is tearing down barriers. In 2018, Harvard touted a new aid program that has brought to campus new diversity, both racial and economic, and has created opportunities for students from a wide range of backgrounds to interact and learn from one another. Ivy League graduates does not dominate leadership positions in America. In a comprehensive 2017 study of 3,990 senior executives drawn from 15 sectors, including government, researchers at the University of California at Riverside found that barely 10% attended Ivy League colleges. Ivy League graduates were most represented in industries involving media, including publishing, journalism, and the arts, but even there, they were a decided minority. Model answer 3. A number of studies have shown that Ivy League graduates are vastly overrepresented in positions of corporate and political leadership. Almost a third of officers and directors in the corporate elite earned undergraduate degrees from elite schools. Ivy League alumni conspicuously crowd some of our country's most prominent institutions. 7 of the 9 members of the Supreme Court were undergraduates at Ivy League colleges, and all 9 of them attended either Harvard or Yale for law school. Every president after Ronald Reagan has had a degree from the Ivy League, often multiple. The world that produced John Kerry and George Bush is indeed giving us our next generation of leaders, observed William de Sewich in an essay for the American Scholar. Attending an Ivy League college is far from a prerequisite for leadership in America's major institutions. In this regard, the United States is far more open and democratic than Britain, where Oxford and Cambridge graduates occupy positions in the elite to a degree unlike anything in this country. 3/4 of Britain's prime ministers, and the majority of its judges, journalists, and civil servants attended Oxford or Cambridge. Thus, Ivy League graduates do not dominate leadership positions in America.
While you are preparing your own arguments, listen to the following information to help you with brainstorming activities.